Hey guys, this is Scott with Grayson Hobby. In this third and final video, we're going to be installing the electronics in our Grayson Hobby Sukhoi. If you missed the first two videos, check out the description box below for our links. Alright guys, we're going to go over a few of the things you're going to need to complete the build. We're going to need a soldering iron. Of course, we'll need solder, a pair of Z-bend pliers or needle nose. We'll also need a set of side cutters, a hobby knife or X-Acto, a pen for marking, and you'll also need a servo tester and the matching battery, or you can set them up using your radio system. We'll also need a screwdriver, a small Phillips. We'll need a set of wire strippers, and this is a personal choice. Need some fuel tubing or some tie wraps. We'll also need a hot glue gun. Alright guys, I'm going to go over the Grayson Hobby flight pack for the Sukhois. It consists of two 9-gram servos for the rudder and elevator, two 5-gram servos for the ailerons, one 2208-17 motor, a 450 milliamp battery 20C, it's 11.1 volt, a JST connector, one 18 amp ESC, one prop adapter, the 9x5 prop direct drive, and we're going to use the push rods, the 12-inch push rods from the kit that came with our Sukhoi. Alright guys, we're going to get started here. We're not going to focus so much on the soldering job itself, as there are plenty of videos out there, but I do want to go over a few things with you. One of the things we'll need is we'll need the 3.5mm bullets out of our motor so that we can solder those onto our ESC. Those will be located inside the accessories pack here. Although the tips are pre-tinned, I do like to clip these off and tin them myself just so that I have a matching solder. So I just clip off the tin from the factory. Strip it back, just a little bit of flux there, taking a little bit of solder, and coat the ends. Now I'm only going to do this to the ends where the motor connection is going to go. These are actually going to connect to my 3.5mm bullets. I'm not going to tin the ends of the connection yet, because I'm going to be joining these to this JST extension. Alright, we got the ends to the motors tinned, and now we're going to work on installing the JST connector, or the JST extension that comes with the kit. And for you guys that are new to the hobby, or for those that don't know, there are 3 wires that come off of the right hand, or one side of the ESC, and those are going to go to your motor, and off of the other side you're going to find the cable that goes to your receiver. You're also going to find a red and a black wire. Those are going to go to your extension or directly to another connector, which ultimately go to your battery. You'll definitely need to make sure that polarity is correct on these, as you will smoke an ESC and or your radio in a heartbeat, your receiver. Also, very important, before you do any soldering, make sure you put your shrink tubing on, or if you're going to use like a liquid wire cover, you can do that afterwards. And I can attest to you will in your lifetime forget that, as I have already shot this scene right here in this movie 4 times. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to dip a little bit of flux on one end, I'm going to dip a little bit of flux on the other end. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually twist these together real gently and just try to get them to interlace. I don't want to go shoving it in there, because what will happen is just create a good ball, and basically it will not have a good connection there. Alright. Once that's done, I'm just going to wet the end of my soldering iron here. I'm going to drop a little bit on the top, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it underneath, and I'm going to watch that actually wick all the way through. And now we have a good connection. Now I'm going to repeat the same for the ground, and then we'll work on getting the bullets on. Alright, we're going to get the bullets soldered on here. I use an old cutting board which I've got my helping hands bolted to. We do happen to sell these helping hands in store. And what I have is I have 3 holes drilled about 1/4 inch deep, and I just drop those in there like that. And what I do is I heat up the edge and I fill it up with solder just until it bowls right below the top. And then what I do is there's a hole right on the side. You can stick your soldering iron back in there and get that hot. Put your wire down in there. I can show that to you there a little better. Give it a little blow to cool it down, and that's it. Alright, next one. Now this is a very important part of the installation here, because if you skimp on this, or if you use too little solder, or if your wire is too short, or if you use a ton of flux, all of those components can cause the motors not to run right, or to run inefficiently, or to not run at all. So this is a very important part that you need to make sure that you get down pat. And once this cools down, I'll kind of show you what a good look looks like there. Alright, so if I can get the camera to focus here. Still very hot there. But you want to make sure that that's nice and full, and that your wire is nice and seated down in there. Alright, going to continue on with the last one. Alright, now we've got our bullets installed. Now this is another very important part of the installation here. You definitely need to make sure that you get the shrink wrap that comes with the motor put on these. Easiest way to do it is just take it and slide it with your finger right until it stops. And what that's going to do is that's going to leave just the very end of the bullet exposed. And then take your heat source, whether you're using a lighter or a heat gun, and just shrink that down. Alright, we've got all of our soldering finished, and the next step I like to do is go ahead and put the motor plate on. But I did want to stop and show you guys one thing on this motor plate. If you'll notice, the holes are offset 90 degrees. So if you rotate the plate around 90 degrees, they will not match. You also need to make sure that the recessed portion is facing up, so that the force supplied screws will lay flat down there, because you want to make sure that this lays flat on your motor mount. So we're just going to install these 4 screws, and that'll take care of the motor. Alright, we're going to go ahead and install the motor. A quick tip: inside of each of our servos, in the little control horn bag, you're going to find 3 screws. One's going to be the one that you're going to use to mount the control horn. The other 2 are not needed. These are perfect for mounting the motor. Alright, to install the motor, we're simply just going to slide it in. We're going to use one of the 4 servo screws that I just told you about. I'm going to screw those in. I'm going to make sure you attach all 4, and that's it. Alright, it's time to install the servos, but I want to show you a quick tip on what I do so that I can easily remove my servos if I need to. I take regular 1-inch Scotch tape, cut about 3 inches of it, and I wrap the bodies of the servos so that when it comes time to remove them, in case of a crash, if you get tired of that plane and you need to use them again, you can remove them very easily. All you have to do is just peel the tape off. Alright, once you wrap that around, you'll get down to the wire. Just cut a little slot to relieve that. Bring that around, and I just fold it over just like a package. Birthday present. Fold those tips over. Now what I do is I take one more little piece, just a small little slice, and I close that end up nice and tight. Just like that. And I'm actually going to let that wick all the way through, and you'll actually see it pull in and absorb. And I forgot it again.